What up, what up, what up, everybody? I'm here with the man of the hour, a rap star. He's been in the industry decades. Everybody wants to be him. Women want to be with him. He's an absolute legend of the game. He's been playing it for longer than I've been alive. Hey,
Yeah,
brother,
so I go by the stage name of Vipinski, and uh, the name essentially is like half of it is my name, Vipin, and then the ski part it has a Polish uh, relation to it. That's because I married into a Polish family. My wife is Polish, so
oh wow.
yeah, yeah. So the Polish names are like they end with the skis, like Budzinowski, something
Okay.
like that. So the Vipin and ski is like a combination of my name and then that Polish connection. Yeah, man.
Vipinski, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yo, so who is Vipinski? Tell us a little bit about it. Well, how do you started? Why did you landed in pursuing this path
Yeah.
within the music, and where you at right now? And tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So me as Vipinski, I started with this brand a couple years ago. I would say like 3 to 4 years ago. I used to go by the name called DV when I first started my music career, and this was when I was I would say 16, 18.
Yeah.
Back then it was the MySpace days, and I went by that name for a while, and I grew up in Doha, Qatar, and I grew up there since I was 2, and when I was 22, I moved out to the United States. And then ever since then, I sort of like, went to school, stayed there. And eventually I went from DV to Vipin when somewhere around the time of 2019. And this is when I felt like I should use my real name to go completely in the business because I felt like I was a little more invested back then.
Yeah.
So I figured I should go with the name Vipin. So I went with the name Vipin for a while. However, Vipin is a very common name in India. So since there are like a million Vipins, I had to like just think to myself again and just realize that if you don't have a unique name, it is very tough to be captured in a search engine. If people like look you up, like they got to look you up with um, just your artist name, and if it's a common name, you don't want to be found as some guy who's not even you on a Google search engine or wherever it may be. So you need to use that unique name. So the Vipinski part, I changed it just because, like I said, it was just because I got married to my wife and I have that connection. Yeah, so that's how I ended up being Vipinski, and Vipinski was the name as of 2020 like 1 and 2.
Since when are you making music?
I've been making music like in the forms of songs per se since I was I would say 17, and this was in Doha, Qatar, and I think it was the year 2005.
Shit, bro. So you started rapping in Qatar.
Yeah, I started rapping in Qatar. I started making some songs, having friends like this, connections. We meet up in the city, and some folks you grew up with, you end up making songs with them. You talk about your ambitions, and then eventually, you make a song.
So you would
Yeah.
say a lot of the music
Mhm.
and your experience in the music, it's a lot of collaboration.
I started off with collaborations in Qatar, and then it was all collaboration, whether or not um let's say I had a featured artist who does vocals or if it's a specific producer, So most of my work always has some sort of collaborations from either of these standpoints. And yeah, that's how I started. And then I just figured I will go do this all by myself. When I say all by myself, it's still not all by myself. It is me looking up for instrumentals on these websites. And if I feel like there's an instrumental that really resonates with me, I use those instrumental. And essentially that's a collaboration too. It's just like it's not a
So you don't
you
know the
know.
guy.
Yeah, it's just somebody else who decided to make that instrumental that caught my attention, and I just give them an interest
You know,
and
that's really
yeah,
interesting
yeah,
because
finish, yeah,
that's really interesting because
yeah,
I heard that Steve Jobs
mhm,
saying that one of the most magical things in this world that we have,
mhm,
it's doing something that's worth it
mhm,
and worthwhile.
yeah,
Because if you put something out there,
yeah,
somebody that never even met you, it's
yeah,
gonna also be able to take part of it.
yeah,
And even though you'll never meet that person, never know their aspirations, never met their mother, how they felt that day, it's nothing unrelatable,
yeah,
but you actually had an impact from that human's life in different ways. So that's quite interesting. You're saying that you collaborate over finding type of music.
yeah.
Um, how's the rap scene in Qatar?
The rap scene in Qatar when I first started, there wasn't a specific artist, I believe, in that genre. However, the rap scene was, really picking up during the 2000s and the pre 2000s. Since like the Jay Z days, the Blueprints, Kanye West, the Graduation, uh, and all those great albums, man. So it's Kanye West, 50 Cent. So there are a lot of artists that influenced the environment during that time in Qatar. So it was the days when I would say um, there was a lot of urban clothing, which means like FUBU or Rockaware and Fat Farm. All these companies existed, and there was a interest in that kind of a style. And I would say that era is the era which inspired me as a musician.
That's really cool. And
Yeah,
how's when you collaborate with people through MySpace? You mentioned
yeah. Sometimes back then that was your Instagram. That was your all your other social handles,
Facebook.
Facebook, TikTok, whatever it may be. Somewhere you have to get your music out there. So it was MySpace, and then SoundCloud was also popular for the purpose of like uploading your own music or your audio or whatever you do as a content creator. So those two were quite popular back then, and I would say SoundCloud has overtaken MySpace at this point in time. So yeah, it's yeah, that's those are the social profiles and where we connected with other artists. Yeah.
And what was your first song?
What was my first song? Oh, my first song. My first song, which I did back then, was called "Like This." It was just straight up 2000s, and the instrumental was so basic, and I don't even know if I did that instrumental by myself. It's just been such a long time. I don't even remember the lines, to be honest with you. Like, and then those are the times when I had no clue where to like upload music. But I had connections within the network of the city that worked in the radio stations at the time, so they were able to play my record on the radio station.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, bro. So it was pretty cool. I was a pretty aggressive guy. Back in the days.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So in terms of like networking, I mean, so I was just trying to like
Okay.
try to connect with people, and I didn't really think too much. I wasn't very calculative as I am right now. Right now, I really think about something before I do something. But back then, it was just a matter of like, okay, I have an idea, I'm gonna do it. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I feel like I wanna go get something. I'll go get something. I was very decisive, and I just didn't think twice. Before I made a move. But right now, as you get older, you think twice, you think three times. You just don't know. You have to like think about several things before you commit to something. So yeah, like this was my first song. Yeah, that's it's quite the story behind it. But yeah, I don't even remember the lines, but I had inspirations from all kinds of things back in that era, like just money or flashing,
Okay, yeah.
girls
As you
or
do.
yeah. So it was just like it was like fake it till you make it kind of a thing. So that's a lot of artists got in the positions they were, and that's the avenue I took at the time. So
That's
yeah.
that reminds me a lot about different stories, different artists I hear talking about how they recorded their first song
Mm,
in terms of the setup.
mm, mm, mm,
You
mm.
remember like which mic do you use, what type of headphones you use?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, so my setup was essentially, it was a Sony microphone. And in Qatar, there's this store, which me as a kid, and we used to go as a family to buy groceries or just hang out. It was in a hypermarket that's sort of like a mall. But in the Middle East, there's a mall culture, so everyone hangs out in the mall. So a hypermarket is like a big mall. Had 4 floors and everything, and it's just really wide. It had a lot of like fun things to do. And there was a store called Carrefour, or Carrefour, I guess.
Carrefour, yeah, I
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
know.
So
Shout
that
out
is.
Carrefour. They work in Colombia as well.
Oh, for real? Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, so Carrefour was a like a supermarket within this whole hypermarket, and they had like a tech section, and I just went and saw this dynamic mic. I didn't really like look up reviews back then because this is pre 2006, and they didn't have YouTube reviews. No one like MKB HD or whatever folks that reviews microphones were testing these microphones to tell you, oh, you got to buy this one. We didn't have a choice. I just like look at something. I think, okay, it probably is going to work out, and I did it. So it was a dynamic microphone. It was a Sony. I don't remember the exact model name, but it was a silver one. And then the setup was essentially, that was the main device that I used to record my voice. I didn't have an audio interface. It was just like a plug-in into my my laptop. It was not my laptop. It was my brother's laptop, which I keep borrowing, and he kept getting mad at me. So yeah, it was a laptop which I loaned from my brother, and then yeah, I just get an instrumental back then, and then I would just put a blanket, like a blanket, and just put it over me, and I just have the microphone like that close,
Uh-huh.
and I don't move too much when I'm like trying to perform, and it's so hot, and I have to turn off the AC because it's like the AC is like really loud, and it will pick up in the
Oh.
microphone, and it's the desert, it's Qatar, so it's like if you can't put on your AC, you really have to be dedicated to be doing something. So I was really working in some tough times, and that was my first recording setup. I believe it was I don't know if it was like Windows. It was Windows 2000 something. It was like those old Windows. I don't even remember. Yeah, but it was like one of those Windows. I used the software called Cool Edit Pro, and then I think they had several iterations, and I think Adobe bought that company, and I'm not sure if they still are in business. I don't hear people talking about it, but yeah, that was the software that I used. Yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, the software, it's always a funny story.
yeah,
Which one people used the first
yeah,
time.
yeah, for real.
What would you say so far it's been the highlight of your career?
The highlight of my career. Well, the highlight of my career is to just follow your journey. Start giving the journey of your artistry more of a priority than the end goal. So as an artist, you have to be true to yourself. You can't chase other people and try to imitate. You can obviously like be influenced with a certain styles, but you want to be on your own lane and try not following too many trends, because if you follow a trend, then it's harder for you to stand out. So try to stay true to what you believe in the sound of your music, and then that's really it. I'm not sure if I'm going off topic. Is that
No,
was that the question?
no, not at all. Not at, I mean, it's definitely the topic. Yeah,
Yeah,
what's been the highlight of your career?
yeah.
Is there any specific moment you remember you felt like, fuck, bro, this is exactly what I was looking for?
Oh, Jesus. Hold on. Well, the highlight was always to just pursue, just be on the track. You obviously you have your end goal, but focus on the journey. So, my journey was essentially, um I put it on hold several times, and I go through these creative, how do you say, like vacations. I have a writer's block. Sometimes I just don't like. I get too critical with my own songs, and I just don't put it out. And then there are times that I don't end up finishing a song, and then there are times that I have to focus on life. So it was like artists go to school, artists go to school, artists that go to work,
Yeah.
artists. So it was. I wasn't able to stay consistent, so consistency is key, and that's what I hear from people, and that's what something like I was never able to do because you got to put food on the table. You gotta once sign up for certain responsibilities, you just have to go all the way. You just can't bitch out of it. You can't just go like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore." So yeah, the journey is definitely the highlight for me. And like every time I would say I make a song, every song felt like I hit a milestone. I always felt like every song that I did, I felt like yeah, this is something that I would really enjoy listening to like several years down the line. So that I would say that's the greatest highlight of my life. I never really have like like performed in big settings. Matter of fact, I honestly never perform. I just
Oh
love
shit.
I just enjoy the creating process.
Would you like to perform?
I don't know if I would like to perform, but maybe I may. I'm I'm not gonna lie. I haven't done it so often. Um, or like I said, I've never done it. So for me, I always have stage fright, and I just need to get over those nerves. But there are times that I always felt like okay, I can do it, and I can definitely put on a show. I've felt that too. Perhaps a shot would work. Perhaps something else would work. But as long as to get me in the mood, I would love to perform. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. And you mentioned like you've been doing different things, so you have kids as well, right?
At this point in time, yep, I am a father, and just had my second child, and
Yo,
yeah,
congrats on
yeah.
that. Do
Thank
you
you.
think do you think being a father changed you?
Yeah, so being a father, it definitely changed me, man. My first kid, he's my son.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first kid's a son, and he was born in 2020. So in 2020 was a pretty crazy year because it was
Oh my god.
right when the pandemic started. It was in February of 2019 when the news broke out, and people started pulling their hair out. The whole world changed. Um, yeah, so that's when my wife was like pregnant, and then he was born in the summer, and yeah, so since he was born, it put a lot of new perspective in my life. I'm not as driven or selfish like I was before. Perhaps I was a little too focused on myself, and at that point on, like I try to give some consideration to my family, to my kids, and I
Wow.
think spending time with your kids are it's basically it's very essential to grow that bond with your child. Your child needs to uh, have that best friend. When they're very little, from the age when they're toddlers. And that's what really like sort of creates the foundation for your relationship with your child. You know what I'm saying? So you want to be there for your kids at that time, and I enjoyed the whole process. But my son taught me how to be a father. He taught me how to be patient. He taught me how to um, not be selfish. If that's something people need to work on too. But yeah, he taught me not to be selfish. He taught me to be kind. He taught me to be did I say patient already? Okay,
Yeah.
patient. Okay,
Yeah.
and then he taught me to also focus on goals and to keep living because I gotta create the best
Life for them.
the life for them, and I also gotta create the best impression. You have some responsibility. You have to like
Yeah, respond to that.
you have to teach your kids to be some moral people in the world. You got way too many
Not moral people.
not moral, no, not so moral people, because they have problems in their lives too. But yeah, yeah. So fatherhood very much taught me to focus. So um, so yeah, I've been more gentle, I would say.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, what's next for you in your career?
What's next for me in my career? At this point in time, um, uh, thanks to several things that's going on in the world, I've taken a back seat, and I've just tried to focus a little bit more on my family at this point in time. But I do have certain ideas to create an album. So um, I'm still in the direction of like putting out solos, solo records. Every other time I get a
From this
yeah.
episode, you should launch a song, bro. Just say, you know what, I'm gonna launch a song by takes like a month maximum.
A month maximum. So yeah, let's see. Let's see. So let's see. Within a month, I will do my very best to put out
No,
another
don't, no,
record.
no, no, don't say you do your very best. Say you're gonna do it and then do it. Well, 'cause I've been an
Yeah,
artist as well, and it takes like what you just
yeah,
have to record the voices,
yeah.
get a beat or
Uh,
buy a beat from someone,
that's right.
and then if you want, it's not necessarily, but if
Yeah,
you want, you can
yeah.
masterize
Mm.
and then just launch it and don't think about it. That's what I used to do. Just launch it and don't think
Wow,
about it.
like you put out a very key information for me. You were like, if you want, you gotta master, like
Yeah,
master the song. You mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, for real? So you guys, some of you don't even master it.
No, I mean, of course we did. What I'm saying it's that when you're starting out,
Okay.
if
Yeah, I understand.
yeah,
I totally understand. I fuck with you, bro.
yeah,
That was a. See, when I was starting off, I did the same thing. So I can't be, I'm not trying to judge you from the same view, but I was trying to understand if you guys, as like the, Gen Z, right? You're
yeah,
you're Gen Z, so I wanted to like get a perspective of what you guys are really into sound wise. So you already said like sometimes you master it, but sometimes when you mix it so good, you almost feel like you mastered it. And I know exactly how you feel because that's how I released some of my first records, but they were terrible. Like like back then I thought like to have so much bass in the song, you had to like crank up the bass, so
uh,
much. So now if you like hear some of the versions that I've done, like I've done a terrible job. Like the bass is like too loud. It screws up your ear because like when you have like not so like a car that doesn't have like good audio, you're like, oh shit, you had to
uh,
put more bass.
well,
You
that,
know?
that reminds me to a story. Like this,
Yeah.
there's two school classes,
Mm,
and they are in a pottery class.
yeah.
So one class A,
Yeah.
they're told to do the best putter that they can.
Okay.
The best
Yeah.
base
Yeah.
that they can.
Okay.
Just one. They only
Okay.
have to do one. So they have the
Okay.
whole semester to do just one
Okay.
and the most perfectly that they can.
Mm,
And then class B, they're
mm,
told to do as many putters or bases or whatever
mm-hmm,
as much as they could.
mm,
Like as much as they could. It didn't really matter the quality, but as much as they could.
okay.
And by the end of the semester,
Mm,
class B
mm,
had better putters
mm,
than class A that only did one
mm,
because of the repetition effect, right? So if
mm,
you launch one song, then the
mm,
next one, you get into a flow,
mm.
processes are faster, and then
Yeah.
that's how you achieve the
Yeah.
quality, I would
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. So I can very much attest to that. So like I feel like once I get in the fields, then I get in the fields for a while. But then when I, take a back seat, then I take a back seat for a little more because I'm like, okay, I can get to it whenever I get so used to procrastination. It's the ugly procrastination is a killer to the creativity. It's just what it is. So yeah, I've been procrastinating for a while, but yeah, I'll definitely put out some records, man. So this is my one thing. I always have an issue because I feel like I'm an artist that has incorporated melody into my music at this point in time in my career, and I also do like the hip hop, the rap side of it, where you actually you throw some bars. So that's where I feel like I'm a little lost, but as an artist, I always do what's like what's like resonating with me, at the time. So sometimes it's like a singing record, sometimes it's like a rap record. So I'll see how it goes. But I'm trying to compile some songs where it's like I'm just singing, and then there's an album that's gonna come into play where I'm gonna tease you with some of the records that I did as a rapper, and then put out a rap album too. Maybe an EP. I think the EP is the short one, right?
I mean,
The LP is like the long one. Okay, I believe so.
I mean, EP and LP were to when we had discs.
Yeah, we had this. Yeah,
So it meant something back in the day
right.
because one EP I think had less songs and the album had much more songs because they're big.
Yeah,
But since now we can do it online, there's not a real
yeah,
tangible
yeah.
difference.
Yeah, so I think I'm not sure. Like I said, like I haven't sat on my drawing board and really put it in a plan work in a pipeline or whatever to figure out how many songs. But yeah, I think it's going to be a collection of a few records for both those kind of albums. I would say, yeah, and yeah, I would say both those records. Um, or both those kind of genres. They're very different. You know, one is the singing, one is the rap, and I feel like when in the rap, like you have to be a different person. You know, you have to be a complete different artist. Whereas when you're singing, you're more like you're trying to have a good time. You know, you're trying to sing records that make you feel good. You know, you just want to chill on the weekend. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
don't want to be focused on like, oh, okay, like, oh, I want to go get my money. I want to go freaking live this life. I'm gonna like, I have a whole bunch of boys. I'm gonna, you know, fuck with you, like, you know, that's honestly being like the rap records, you know, that's been coming out, and then I feel like rap records, you also have a statement. You know, you put out like a statement. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
feel
just
you.
like it's not like oh okay I'm gonna sing and just make it seem like that's whatever. You know, so rap records like when you do rap records, I feel like it's more people listen to you more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They focus more on your words. Like, what is he saying? You know, he's doing some poetic, calculations with all his rhyming patterns, you know, his syllables and things of that nature. But people pay attention to it a little bit more. So your words are like it hits you harder. You know, so yeah, you got to do the switch up. So like mentally, like for me, I've been having those switch ups. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, man. I'm
Not finger crossed. You can just decide it. It's in your control, bro.
yeah.
This is one of the few things that it's actually in
Just
your
just
control.
just like shoot me a message or something like, hey, where's the album or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, where's the record? So
So the man, the myth, the legend himself, he came in. He explained a little bit about more of how it's being an artist, how it's being a dad, how to manage everything.
yeah.
Appreciate you. You have any links you want to plug in to my 43 followers? Yeah,
43 is a nice number, and I wish you success. But yeah, my handles are basically you gotta look out for Vipinski. You can even Google Vipinski. It's Vipinski, and that's my social handles. Um, I'm still with the name Vipin on Apple Music. For some reason, I've been having trouble changing my name from my legal name, like my legal first name Vipin to Vipinski. But I went with that name. But yeah, on Apple Music, I'm still Vipin, and then everywhere else, I'm Vipinski, and that's how you're gonna find me. So yeah,
okay, shout out to you, brother. I appreciate you coming to the podcast and wish you best of luck